Good afternoon, this is Bob Iacchino from Path Trading Partners, along with my co-founder Mike Arnold. It is July 5th. This is an afternoon Path Chat covering the futures markets. Interesting day today, still a low liquidity day. A lot of people still out of town, not really trading. When you've got a holiday, the beginning of the week like this, some people take advantage of the beginning of the week, especially when you've got a major piece of economic data coming out like we do on Friday with the non-farm payrolls. Markets today, the Dow essentially unchanged. It was down 0.01%. So to me, that's nothing. That's completely unchanged. The NASDAQ Composite Index up almost 0.75%, 0.67%. And the S&P 500 up right around 0.25%, 0.23% is the exact percentage. Gold up $5.10, copper down 2 cents. The crude oil got crushed the last couple days. We're back down in the 45 handle after having traded as high as 47.10. The output from OPEC has actually increased. It's not U.S. production, it's the OPEC production driving it down. Sectors in the equity markets, technology up almost 1%, 0.94%. And the biggest loser was energy. As you heard, crude oil's gotten crushed. So energy down 1.8%. Second biggest loser, utilities, which tends to happen when the stock market is rising. Healthcare is the second biggest winner. Both of those net change of about 0.5%. Utilities down 0.43%. Healthcare down 0.51%. I talk about economic data, but it doesn't really matter as much. The pieces of news that mattered, the Fed minutes suggested that there's increasing tensions on inflation's shortfall. Inflation lately has been running well below target. Mike and I have talked about this on the podcast before. And a quote from the minutes are, most participants viewed the recent softness in these price data as largely reflecting idiosyncratic factors. However, several participants expressed concern that progress might have slowed and that the recent softness in inflation might persist. That was a big statement. It moved yields. The 10-year note yield actually fell 3 points down to 2.32 from 2.35%. The other story dominating the news is North Korea. North Korea fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, an ICBM, and are now directly threatening the U.S., not only with the length that this missile supposedly can reach, but with their words, saying America has something to worry about. And the U.S. has stressed that they are prepared to use military force against North Korea if need be, but they prefer diplomatic relations. President Donald Trump tweeted something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, so much for looking for China's help. They increased their trade with South Korea they increased their trade with North Korea by 40%. But we thought we would try. Again, I'm paraphrasing the tweet, but that's the frustration coming from the White House on this. That is it. Pretty much for the news. Again, that's what's dominating the news. There was a Tesla move of about 7%, but I don't really care too much about that because it's not really well represented in any of the indices. So let me turn it over to Mike to let you know what he's seeing on the charts. Mike, it's all yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bob. So, Dow Mini Futures update, inside day from Friday, and we have some updated levels and targets to talk about. Should we rally tomorrow? 21,475 first area of resistance going to be very key. You can see this high in this little breakout area got above slightly before dropping back. Getting above that, 21,508. Then if we get through that, 21,554 to 21,601 are the next two levels higher as from our GAN projections. On a pullback, key support coming in about 21,350. Then we'll be watching for a drop potentially back to 21,300 area, and if that's violated, 21,273 to 21,241 is our next support zone. Key GAN levels coming in with a rising trend line. Switching over to the S&P. S&P, not much going on. Now, not an inside day from Friday. You can see the low exceeded Friday's low, but it's been caught in this range now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So really going to be watching for a breakout of this range. If we can get below 24.17. We could possibly see a move down to 24.11 to 12, and then very key support coming in at about 24.09. If that is broken on a major sell-off, watch for 24.02 to 2400. Rally back up. We have a lot of resistance at 24.38 area. If we get through that, we'll be watching for 24.42. Then we'll be looking forward to 24.48 level. And then if we do eventually get through that, 24.51.50 is the most recent high. Over to the NASDAQ futures. NASDAQ futures, nice bounce up today. Just got below the end of the clear path. Near the 62.5 Gann level, very key Gann level, bottom of a key Gann rotation zone. Could not get through that and retraced back up. So, if we rally tomorrow, we'll be watching for a resistance zone of 56.76 to about 56.80 key resistance. If we do get through there, 56.98 area, and then the top of the rotation zone of 57.17. And on a very strong rally, we'll be watching for about 57.29 to 57.37. If we pull back, first key area support 55.89. Then we'll be watching for down around 55.59 to 55.52. And if that's broken, very key level 55.34. Switching over to crude oil. Could not get through really Friday's close. Poked up a little, but then dropped like a rock back down to a very key gain level, 45.10. Broke through that. It actually made a low of 44.54. We were watching about the 44.50 before closing right near that gain level. So if we rally tomorrow, we're watching for 45.96 to 46 for the first level of resistance, then 46.42, then 47.07 area. If we continue our pullback tomorrow, 44.50 area is going to be the first major level of support. Then we'll be watching for about 44.25, and on a much bigger drop, 43.71, and then possibly, if that's broken, 43.54 to 43.40 on a very big decline. Over to gold. Gold pushed a little lower before rebounding and moving higher. Dipped just below the end of this clear path, which was hit on Friday. Did not get down to the 100% retracement level from this move before rebounding. So on a continued push higher, first level resistance 12.2850. Then we'll be watching for 12.33 to about 12.35, very key. And then major resistance coming in about 12.37 to 12.38. On a pullback, support zone 12.20 to about 12.19 is going to be very key. If that's broken, we'll be watching for a potential drop to 12.14 area. And then once that's broken, about the 12.11 to 12.12. Finally, over to silver. Silver, really nice push down, exceeding this last major swing low, and not quite getting to the end of the clear path, which comes in at 1580 before a strong rebound, closing just above a 1604 Gann level. So, potential rally tomorrow, very key resistance coming in at 1617, then watching for right around the 1624 area, then on a big rally, 1632 to 1636 area of resistance. If it does drop back down, first level support coming in about 1596. Then we'll be watching for the 1585 to 1580. And then on a push below that, right around the 1573. That's all we have for you. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you for that, Michael. New Money Path podcast is out. Check it out at pathtradingpartners.com or type in the Money Path podcast into iTunes or Google Play. Please hit like and subscribe if you like what we're doing, and check out our cryptocurrency updates. There's some pretty good information in those. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you in the next Path Chat. Cheers, everyone.